in a moment of enjoyment that you lose your sense of time and self-consciousness. So if you can tap into that state, you stimulate the mind and lower your stress levels, and all these physiological things happen that basically like expand your creative thinking capacity.
Are you ready for a show that actually shifts you? With real, raw, honest conversations about what it takes to become the most embodied version of yourself. And are you ready to remember that the world really does need your medicine? This is the podcast to awaken that. I can hear a calling. Because we all feel our higher self pulling us to our next expansion. But the only way to really get there is by sharing our stories together. So welcome to the World Needs Your Medicine podcast. This is the place where we can have real conversations about the things that have worked for us, the lessons we've learned, the hard struggles along the way, and the things that have shifted us into the versions of ourselves we are now. Here on the show, you'll hear from some of the most incredible guests that have transformed their lives using the exact tools they talk about and offer inside each episode. I'm so honored to share this with you, and I can't wait to dive deeper, because when you see the power of what others have created, you believe you can create it too. And that's all we are really trying to remember, because the world really does need our medicine, and it starts by finding it within yourself. I'm Lauren Eliz Love, and let's dive into the show. Thanks for being here. Good morning. Rise and shine, my gorgeous family. Hello. I mean, I have no idea what time it is by you, but it's very, very early over here. I have my lovely cup of cacao. I've been trying to cut back on caffeine lately, and I just feel like my relationship to caffeine is a very confusing relationship. I can't quite define it. Like, 1 minute, I'm very much reminded why I love caffeine. And the next minute I am reminded why I hate it. It's just like a very interesting dynamic. So I'm drinking my cacao, which is definitely a downgrade from the very potent, strong coffee that my partner makes every morning. And I'm dropping in with you guys wearing the same outfit that I have worn for the last I mean, if I really tell you, it's going to be kind of embarrassing. I've been in like this very interesting process. I haven't shared much about it on the Instagram, but since you're here, I like to surprise you guys with intros that have absolutely nothing to do with the actual conversation that we're having today. But maybe they do. Maybe we can weave intention here. I feel like it's all divinely orchestrated. So I have the last 2 months, 3 if you count the entry of exploration, I have been on my hormone replacement journey at the ripe, beautiful age of 37. I'm so proud of this. I'm so proud of my body. Perimenopause kind of hit me really hard and fast at the age of 37. And I've recently been interviewing a lot of like late 20s, people who are in their late 20s. And I can feel how much we're different. Like, I'm not there anymore. I love you. I'm so proud of you. Like, man, late 20s was a ball. It was a blast. And now I'm here in my late 30s, and like the medicine of that is just so potent, and it's so beautiful, and I'm so grateful, and I love aging. And I'm also like really rediscovering things that maybe were left unearthed or unsettled in my early young adult life. I think that's what happens when you go through perimenopause. Like, you will have this experience where I'm just speaking for myself. All of the shit that has not been fully complete from the time in your life where like your hormones were coming online and developing their strength comes like full circle in remembrance as our hormones start to drop. Like, I read this thing the other day where I was trying to figure out, I got blood work. My hormone levels were really low. They've always been low, I think because I was on birth control at a really young age, but um, my progesterone is like on the floor, like it's postmenopausal level, and it was causing huge issues in my hormonal cycles. I would wanted to crawl out of my skin before I got my period every month. When I did get my period, I would be so much in pain. And I was seeing these levels, and I did some Googling with all the AI magic that we have available to us. And I realized that the levels that my body is at when it comes to progesterone, which is a calming hormone, is the same level that it would be if I was like 12 years old, just like beginning my hormone cycle. And so it's just really interesting that I'm like, been going through this process of like reclaiming my inner teenager in my own healing process, doing a lot of work around that version of myself. And also, my body is literally in those codes. So it's just really, really fascinating. So, in this process of being in hormone replacement therapy, I've been navigating the discovery of like what my protocol is that's going to be best for myself. And I got to do a podcast episode on this. Like, I want to do a round table where I bring a bunch of women together who are all going through perimenopause so we can all talk about what we're experiencing, because it's rough and tough, man. And it's hard to really discover what's right for you. So what I've been learning in these last 2 months has been challenging, because doing hormone replacement therapy, you don't really know what like the levels are that you're supposed to take, and you have to discover everything is like a person to person basis. So I think I'm now on too much progesterone, which means that I'm taking naps a lot. I'm feeling really tired. And as a result, I just like to wear the same clothes every day. So that's the long winded answer as to why I've been in this Volkswagen hippy dippy van t-shirt for the last like 3 or 4 days. It's been wild, but it feels really good to meet my body in this place of, letting myself be wild and dirty and messy and just, rest a lot and restore a lot. I'm in an off week of my business, so I've been really just sleeping and, reflecting and taking some classes online that I've been studying and just letting myself kind of be where I am, like no judgment. This is where I am. I'm just going to let it. I'm just going to let it. And yeah, we'll see where that journey takes us. But I'm really happy to be here with you guys today to bring a little fun and magic into the conversation of the World Needs Your Medicine podcast. And I feel like, we've been having a lot of dialogues around developing ourself and working on ourself and understanding trauma and, rewiring our relationship to so many different things, whether it's our marriages or our bodies or our bank accounts. So we're doing something a little bit different today. We're going to bring in the fun. I'm going to pull up this beautiful breakdown here on my screen so that I can share with you guys our gorgeous, incredible, she's like the cutest thing ever. I'm so excited to have her on the show. I don't know if you guys know Kari. I'm really happy to have her. She is the author of this bestseller book called Fun Because. And it's like her whole work, her whole focus, her whole direction of medicine is about teaching people how to create more fun in their life, in their entrepreneurial path. She kind of brands herself as this fun coach, like that's her label. She does a lot of virtual work, but she also has this really cool in-person thing where she's networking with other entrepreneurs in the Carolinas and helping them actually create more fun and magic in their entrepreneurial path. So they do like meetups and they have these like fun play dates. And it was just really cool to hear from her on this episode. So she comes on the show. Kari talks a little bit about her journey of realizing how important fun is as a medicine, how to infuse that into your entrepreneurial path. She shares her own journey of being in hustle and force for a long time and how she unwired from that belief system and structure. And in the show, she also shares some really cool, simple tips on how to start creating more of a relationship to fun in your life and how to infuse that into your world as an entrepreneur. I personally feel like while this episode is short and sweet, there is so much power in the simple things that she shares in this conversation today. She's just an incredible bundle of love. And if you're watching this on the YouTube, you can see her whole environment, her whole space is just a reflection of joy. Her embodiment is a reflection of joy. She's just such a sweet human. I'm actually going to be coming on her show as well. So you can check out links to all of Kari's beautiful power and magic in the show notes. She has the link to her best-selling book there below. And we are going to have a beautiful conversation today. So without further ado, let's actually drop in and listen to this beautiful conversation. The world needs your medicine. Enjoy, guys. Yeah, I'm so excited for this conversation because I feel like there's so much in the online space of this dialogue of like how to make the thing that you want to have happen and follow these steps and take these actions and and you're here and you're like, have fun.
Yeah. Actually, though, yeah, and that narrative that's floating around that is so rigid and so blueprint style, like, oh, I have all the answers for you. That's what burned me out. That's what brought me to the place where I was like, no, we gotta have fun with it because otherwise, what are we doing? What's the point? It kind of like sucks the life out of this beautiful journey that we started with such excitement.
Yeah, and I want to really hold space to understand your entrepreneurial path as well because I do have your book. I'm not gonna lie, it's on my shelf. And I feel like the way that I see you now embodied in the online space is with this full claim of joy. And I feel like that is very missed for a lot of entrepreneurs, number one. And I also feel like I'm guessing your path was robbed of that and there was a reclamation that now allows it to be so like very clearly defined in your work. So can you just share a little bit about your medicine and your gifts in the world and how you got here doing this work to help other entrepreneurs?
Absolutely. Well, you nailed it. Of course, there was a loss and then a reclamation. And the first thing that comes up is, I mean, I guess I could say before entrepreneurship started, but I was one of those children that was very entrepreneurial. I don't know if you were the same way, but I was a lemonade stand girly. I was writing letters into like massive corporations about how they should improve their products. I was one of those kids. And so the whole thing really started then because not only was I doing stuff like that, but I grew up in a household that a lot of things that should have been fun for children were not.
Mm,
Hyper criticism and everything being taken very seriously. Unfortunately, a lot of negativity, stuff like that,
same.
where I look back, yeah, and I'm like, oh wow, all these things that are supposed to be fun for kids never really got to be fun.
Yeah, because you were trying to do them right or you were trying to get them to be perfect or your parents' approval, whatever that was. Same, same. Are you a Capricorn?
I'm a Scorpio.
Oh, I love Scorpios. I get along with Scorpios so hard. But yeah, there's like a drive in my energy. I think that was a cause for that, but also my upbringing. Yes, I agree. But continue. Tell me more.
Yeah, yeah. And just that drive to be the best or be good enough in one way or another. I believe that's a massive part of the human condition, this fear that we're not good enough and this desire to prove our worth. And for entrepreneurs, sometimes that's part of our driving factor and why we get started.
Yeah.
Is it really comes from something deep down within, and then it just starts to reveal itself as we have to grow and peel back our own layers through the entrepreneurial journey. And for me, I've been, let's see, coming out of high school, I was a hairstylist. So that was like my first endeavor as an entrepreneur. And then I went into personal training and fitness coaching. And then I shifted into life and mindset coaching. And now I'm here niching down in fun. And a big common thread through all of those seasons was being on social media and growing up on social media where you are literally measuring likes and you are looking at your worth by quantifying it literally by the number of likes that you get. And then
Mm-hmm.
as in your business, the numbers in the bank account start to define your worth and it all becomes like numbers driven and it's never enough, right? So through these ebbs and flows of like pivoting industries and kind of starting from scratch, there was a season in year 6. I'm going into year 9 now. So it was not that long ago where I was just so I had gone from being really high in my business and I loved what the numbers were giving me, right? Lots of validation that I was good enough. And then I pivoted and it all took a massive dip. And
Mm-hmm.
I felt that it shook me to my soul, to my core, like my worthiness outside of that was just not there. And so that was a really ugly season. And it brought me to the point of saying, I have to choose something else. I can't keep like doing entrepreneurship right now. And of course, then when you kind of hit your bottom, you have your breakthrough. Like your breakdown is your breakthrough.
Mm-hmm.
God likes to speak to me in really fun ways because he knows me so well, right?
I like that you
And
call it fun. Your rock bottom is like fun way.
well, it like very quickly got fun because my revelation, my fun revelation, as I call it, came in the form of my puppy. And it was like a really sweet little pleasant surprise. He's truly, I call him like my angel because he came into my life very randomly. And I was in my backyard thinking, holy shit, I cannot believe laughter feels so foreign to me. I have not been laughing. I have not been present. Like this puppy is so joyful. He's extremely silly, so he makes you laugh all the time. And he just brought those elements, those that joyful, playful, fun nature back into my life. And I couldn't believe that I had been lacking it for so long and didn't even realize it. And then the dots just connected. It was like it fell from the sky that, oh, personally, professionally, I've been suffering in all these ways because I let connection, play, and creativity, which I now call the 3 elements of fun, fall through the cracks. And they
Mm-hmm.
didn't have a place in my life or my business. And so I started geeking out, started doing the research, the science and everything, and brought it back into my life. And it was like a overnight transformation. And now we've got embodied fun and joy everywhere because I'm just like it's a win-win. You know, you get to really enjoy your life and there's so many benefits that trickle out into your business and other areas of your life as well.
I feel like I'm looking at myself in a mirror. So I'm like, what am I going to talk to myself about? Because it's same. Like I had the same exact experience where, I stepped into entrepreneurship from this place of like, I'm going to prove everybody wrong. I'm going to build my empire. I'm going to go out on my own and show everybody that I wasn't crazy to quit my job and that drive to be successful was like really a wounded desire for validation. And then that trickled into income, and I was making more and more and more, and it was never enough to feel that validation. And then my drop from the sky wasn't a dog, it was chronic illness and realizing I wanted to help people heal their relationship to themselves. So it's interesting. Like, the wake up is always about this concept of like returning to truth, returning to love, and fun. If we want to get into the truth of it, um, I'm sure you have a lot to say about this, but polyvagal theory and this concept of like it's the ventral vagal, right? Like that's our play state. That's like when we're in like our curiosity and our compassion. And that state of consciousness is like where you make money. It's like where you attract abundance. So I have so much I want to talk to you about. Like, so excited for this dialogue. I want to first ask, when you are working with somebody who comes to you and they say, I want to make more money, right? How do you help that person give up control and be like, yo, like go hula hoop, go rollerblade, can we talk a little bit about the control energy that comes through on that point?
Yeah, that's so real. The first, one of the first things I like to say is letting them know ahead of time that this is a trust fall exercise and it's going to evolve. And it starts out in really small ways of just infusing or sprinkling some playfulness into your day and just taking note of how that changes things for you, how that feels for you, how more. how much more expansive that can become. And then you continue to kind of stretch those limits by going bigger and bigger and
Mm.
letting that fun and joy evolve. But walking alongside them through that trust fall and letting them know, like, I'm here to catch you, and like the reflection points are huge. Take note of what it feels like when you're in what I would call like the hustle vortex or hustle mode, and you're creating from that place of urgency and fear and overwhelm, and watch the result of that. I mean, literally look at what you post online, see how it does, and then consciously play prime, as I would call it, go in with a really fun, present approach and just watch how that post does.
So wait, so what is play priming? What is that? Tell me more.
Yeah. So that's one of the 10 fun tools, and it's one of my favorites. Play priming is the idea of, well, first of all, the definition of play is being so immersed in a moment of enjoyment that you lose your sense of time and self-consciousness. So if you can tap into that state, you stimulate the mind and lower your stress levels, and all these physiological things happen that basically like expand your creative thinking capacity.
Mm.
And then you do that right before you know you're going to do some creative work so that you're already in that state of mind and you're thinking so far outside the box.
Interesting. So this is like a basketball player before he walks out, he's like jumping up and down 10 times to get his energy in a good peak performance state, but creative play instead, right? So like you're doing something before the big event so that it's going to alter the big event, but it's not just as simple as jumping up and down. So yeah, tell me, let's go.
Yeah.
This is
So
so
there's a
good.
lot of different ways. Yeah, it's super fun. There's a lot of different ways to do this. So think of it this way. If you walk into a networking event, which is something most of us are familiar with,
Mm.
and upon arrival, you're greeted with just some kind of like stiff, low vibe energy, and you go into the room. Imagine what your experience is going to be like and what your first conversations are going to be like and how you're going to enter them. And then imagine coming into the room and being greeted with someone who's upbeat and makes you laugh, like you share a laugh right off the bat. Imagine like the next interaction you're going to have in that room and how that night's going to unfold, because we've all been in situations like that. It's that general idea. That laughter changes the entire night, the entire rest of the night, because it brings your nervous system down to baseline and it tells your body we're safe here.
Mm.
So it's doing that in a plethora of different ways. And we can do that, from having a whole day of play with your best friend. Maybe you go to an amusement park the day before you have a really important event that you're speaking at or something like that. Or you can take 5 minutes to jump around, hula hoop, and laugh. Like laughter, if you can laugh before you do something creative or something where you're feeling the pressure, oh, that's magic
Mhm.
key to
Mhm.
unlock the door right there.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would very much relate to what you shared at the beginning, where you talked about meeting your dog and the playful silliness and the laughter, and just realizing that laughter was so missed in your life up until then. And I feel like play, like to me, play and fun, um, even goes beyond the realm of like entrepreneur path dialogue, because so many of us don't know how to play. Like I have a really incredible friend, like one of my best friends. She really struggles with this. She's like, she doesn't really laugh much. She doesn't know how to play, feels like foreign to her, and a lot of that's rooted in her childhood upbringing. So I guess how can we discover play again when it's been robbed from us for so long and we like don't even know how?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really beautiful journey. It evolves and it's supposed to evolve season to season, literally winter, summer, and then also just as you evolve as a person, different ages, different stages of life. And for that person, I would say start with just asking yourself, and really letting an honest answer come through to this. What would I really genuinely enjoy right now? Because we have all these pictures in our minds of what play is. And a lot of times it's assigned to children, or it's an organized game, or it's a roller coaster, whatever the image is, toss it. You get to reinvent that right here, right now, and then let that grow with time. Because again, the only definition of it is that moment where you are so present that you forget about everything else. That the weight
Mm,
of the world just lifts, the weight of your responsibilities, your to-do lists. If you can tap into a moment that makes you forget about all that, that's all it is. So
mm,
ask yourself, what would that be? And then, of course, we have to acknowledge that watching TV, scrolling, anything that is, I guess, numbing in a way, or something that there's a lot more consumption that there is creation or output. Put that stuff in a box to the side. There's a time and place for it. But we're talking about like your engagement, your activity. What can you do that would just feel so good and enjoyable, and just start there.
mm. Yeah, I like the idea. For me, like I notice in my life when I'm moving about my path, um, always like the idea of carving out like a long day of pleasure and self-care and doing something for me, knowing that like the next day I have something quite intense. But that was very hard for me for a long time because I was like, well, I should be preparing. And it should be showing up to prepare. What's your suggestion or feedback for somebody who feels that way?
Yeah, it's a big mindset reframe because it is the most important preparation that you can do to fill your
Mm,
own cup.
mm. Yeah, so let's talk about this like embodied leadership. I feel like filling our cup is like such an important part of this process of being able to be truly embodied and truly hold others and have the capacity to do so. And feeling also like, maybe the journey of filling our cup, like you said, is kind of slow and steady and a learned behavior and it happens over time. It's not something that we like whiplash jump into, where all of a sudden we're totally immersed in our self care and we totally feel like everything is just so easy and flowy. Um, what are some of the small, simple changes that we can start making in our life to infuse this nature of fun? And you had a list of 10, but maybe we can kind of circle back and explore some of them for the audience as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. So the best place to start is with the fun tool that I call Play Infusion, which is the very simple sprinkling of the joy throughout the day. And this comes in a lot of different ways. Some examples that are go-tos are wardrobe. So if you're someone who enjoys to express yourself like through your physical appearance, this is a great way to play. I mean, makeup, hair, clothes, environment, also your interior decorating
Mm,
is huge. I mean, you see my background here. There's neon lights, there's splatter paint, there's color, there's texture. Bringing the color and texture back into your life physically on a day-to-day basis is a great way to shift the energy in a more behind the scenes subconscious way. And it's something that you get to be creative with and play with when you're thinking
mm,
about it, like next time you go to the store, what's something that seems really fun that you wouldn't normally grab? Bring that energy into your home, into your routine. And then there's also things that you can do that are like, okay, if you have a pet or a child, of course, while your food's in the microwave, instead of wiping down the counters and trying to do all these productive things at once, pause and play, and like play with your pet how they want to play. You know what I mean? Like that will get you really immersed in the moment. And same thing with kids. I don't have any kids. You don't have kids, do you,
no,
Lauren?
mm-mm.
No, but I
No
do have a
babies.
niece. Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
You can give them back after. You're like, this was great. Go home. I love you.
Auntie role is the best
It's the
role. I love
best.
it so much.
So
Yeah.
great.
So, whether it's niece, nephew, your own child, there's a difference between like, oh yeah, here playing pretend with you, but like actually getting in their world with them.
Hmm.
Or playing I think this is best done with throwback songs, playing one of your favorite banger throwbacks and dancing around the kitchen. It's going to feel like something that you don't typically want to do. Also do that in the car, windows down, hand out the window, sing along. But song and dance is so powerful. And when you can bring in that physical movement, it really can shift your energy like that. So
Mm.
little things just placed within your normal routine that start to shift the energy, that will actually open up space with time within you and within your lifestyle where you can see, oh, I do have time for this hobby that I've been wanting to try for the last 5 years. It will bring you to that place. And then it will also, with time, start to bleed into your professional world. Whatever you do, whether it be the conversations you're having with people, bringing in more lighthearted energy and laughter, or the way you're creating. If you're a creative or you're an entrepreneur, it will start to bleed out into all areas of your life, and it can be really, really simple in the
Mhm.
start.
Did you feel a shift within that, like in yourself, the more that you started to capture and document play on social media, the more magnetic people started to flow to you? And you see that with clients too, I'm assuming, yeah?
Yeah. And I would wager to say we've all experienced it or seen it where when you're posting something really informative or serious or just very strategic in any way, it, sometimes it slaps and it does great, and oftentimes it doesn't, right? But if you're posting something playful or something trendy, something that literally just feels good to watch, bam, everyone's
Oh,
there.
for
Everyone
sure.
loves it. That's like what most of the viral content is. Because people, I mean, the world is heavy right now, and people are on the app for some level of escape. And if you can give them that feeling of lightheartedness, it's just so powerful. And there is a way to do both simultaneously. So that's a fun thing to play with.
Yeah, what does that look like to bridge your skill set and expertise into a fun, playful approach? And how does, like, also too, I guess I would say like everybody's playful approach is different, right? Some people have more of like a sarcastic energy, some people have more edgy or more soft and lofty. Like, yeah, how do we just, is there like a unique play blueprint that everybody has? How does that look?
That's a great question. The word that's popping up for me, which is a little bit overused, but we'll unpack it, is authenticity. That's what is going to be fun for you. So there's been
Mm.
seasons of my life where I have like this moody poet alter ego where I used to have a poetry account and I used to do a lot of open mics and stuff. And that was oftentimes kind of more sincere in nature, but for me it was really fun because it was authentic for me. And now I'm more in a season where I like to be silly. I like to make ugly faces on camera. I like to be like moving around, and even if I'm talking to the camera, I'm doing weird voices. Like that's fun for me right now.
Mm.
But I would say what trumps everything with the fun content is doing it with other people.
Ah, yes. Yes, 100%. Because community is such a big part of this, right? And like showing that you have connection and relationship, I think is huge for that. And feeling that fun while you're experiencing it with somebody else has a bigger impact too.
Mhm.
Yeah. So if we're trying to create authentically and follow fun, but we're also recognizing that there's like seasons and changes, there's this wound that might come up for people where they say, like, oh, well, that now I feel like I'm not consistent. I feel like I'm not consistent because I'm changing direction all the time. And this feels fun today, but tomorrow this feels fun. Do you have advice for anybody who's struggling with that?
It's supposed to be different every day,
Mm.
and it's supposed to be different every season. And that's the beauty of it. And I think that's oftentimes where people do get hung up, where they have this, again, this picture in their mind of what fun or joy is supposed to look like. And joy is really interesting as an emotion or a state of being, because I see it more as like the thing similarly to love, how like it holds the rest of the emotions. So like when you can feel everything and allow space to be all that you are and feel everything that you feel as a human being, that's joy. And there's a lot of joy in that. So I'm actually really curious to hear your perspective on this one, Lauren, as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, I really, I think the concept of happiness is the authentic pursuit of curiosity, like really being willing to say, like, okay, I'm called to this, I want to do this, and I'm called to this, I want to do that. I think that for me, like, I know on my path, the times where I was changing direction and shifting gears, I definitely felt an energy of like self-doubt of like, oh, I'm being inconsistent. But also like that's my mom's voice from my childhood where I couldn't pick the activity I wanted to do and I was changing my mind all the time. And rather than just exploring what felt fun, I was wrong because I wasn't following something consistently. And so I think that's an important thing to remember too. Like when we are pursuing fun, just in my experience, like the thoughts of my parents came up so much and made it feel like I was doubting myself, or I look stupid, or this sounds wrong, or I don't know if I'm doing this right. I don't know if you have experience with that, but that was definitely something that happened for me.
Yeah. No, absolutely. We have all those voices in our heads, and I think it's important to remember being right, being the best, the achievements, anything else that falls in that bucket. That's not the point. The whole point is, from my perspective, is to enjoy the journey, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think that when we abandon that concept of success as it like has been defined for us, we can find our own unique definition of it. And it's definitely an ego death. I think for a lot of people, like when I started switching out and was like learning how to bring more joy into my life, I was confused. I'm like, this doesn't feel safe. I don't know if I can do this.
That's
So,
so real.
yeah, it definitely takes time. And I think you probably experience that with a lot of women who want to experience more joy that, the numbers and the big success and the accolades, they don't always make you feel what you thought they would make you feel. And it's really disappointing.
They almost never do.
Mm-mm.
Because a lot of it, and I don't know if you have, I would love to hear your experience or perspective on this, but what I'm finding as cool things start happening is you see how much of the things that look really big from afar are smoke and mirrors to a certain degree. Like not entirely, but there's a lot of things that kind of have potential to rob the joy and the pride out of these milestones that we hit because you feel like a fraud on the other side.
Yeah, can you expand upon that for a little bit? What's your experience?
Totally. Yeah, so I'm going to be super transparent here. My book, oh man, okay. So writing a book is, do you have a book?
I do, yeah, and I have one I'm writing. One's a workbook and one's a written book, and the written book isn't out yet, but I have it. The
Ooh,
world needs your medicine.
exciting.
Yeah.
Of course. Yes. When is it coming out? Do you know yet?
I haven't released the date yet, no, but it's soon. I'll stay tuned. Maybe by the time your episode comes out, I'll have details.
Amazing. Okay,
Yeah, but
cool.
tell me more, your experience. I would love to hear.
Yeah, so I wanted to like throw myself into it because I definitely see more books in the future, and it is quite a world publishing, and it's just a really unique world, and I learned a crazy amount of things. And there's a whole process to ensuring that you can get on a bestseller list, right? So, not worth getting into details there, but going through that process and putting all of the legwork into that felt like it kind of like robbed, it almost like robbed that joy of that achievement whenever I did hit bestseller status because I was like, oh, it didn't just happen. Like you see other people, oh, I'm a bestseller, and it looks like, oh, it just happened. Like that many people just love the book so much that bam, there it was. No, there's a lot of work. There's a lot of strategy that goes into it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Also part of the marketing was we did a billboard in Times Square, which is dream come true. That's a vision, from childhood that you don't really think is ever going to happen, and then it does. But then you get there, you get to New York, and you're in the square, and it's like here we are, and your billboard you see for the first time is the one that anybody can rent out for like I don't even know a couple $100s for a certain amount of like seconds on like loop throughout the day. Does that make sense? So like every hour on the
Mm.
hour, it was me for 30 seconds or something like that. And this was part of like the package that I invested in, people who helped me publish and market my book. That was a really big, shiny, exciting thing. And then I saw the reality of that same billboard once it was done, once my picture was off the screen, it was a family that had just landed in New York that like paid to get their picture up there that was like, hey, welcome to New York.
Oh wow.
And so on Instagram, it's this huge,
Huge
exciting,
moment.
huge moment. And I had to, in the experience, kind of fight for it to be a huge moment. And it's stuff like that kind of spread across the board where, kind of like I said, smoke and mirrors, everything that looks really bright and shiny, there's a lot more behind the scenes. Like behind the curtain isn't bright and shiny. And it's also like that sometimes with financial goals that you hit. Like sometimes there's a big struggle and it's kind of ugly to get there. So then you arrive and it's like, oh shit, this does not feel the way that I thought that it would. So
Yeah.
you have to be able to create or tap into that joy at any point in time. In those moments when you're reaching the milestones and in the mundane when you're just kind of, putting the work in.
It's definitely important to have this. How old are you now? I'm just curious.
29.
You're 29. Yeah, it's refreshing to see people who are of your generation. I can't believe I have to say that. I mean, I'm 37, so like you're not that farther away from me. But are you Gen Z or are you Gen X?
I am I'm millennial, I think, but if I was born 2 months later, I would be Gen Z. So I'm like right on the
You're
line.
like right on the line, yeah. Um, yeah, it's just it's so funny because it's like sometimes like that the younger generation I get uncomfortable and insecure because like they just have like a different frequency to them than I'm aware of within myself. It's very fascinating. But your energy is like it's very refreshing and it's really beautiful that you have the awareness that fun really matters at this young age because it took me, quite a while to wake up to that truth. And I for myself, I had this really profound experience in my career back in, I think, 2018. I had made $125,000 in a week. It was like a really big launch. And I wouldn't say I worked hard for it. I think I was following a method that I knew was working and I just made it really strong. But I was jam packing my schedule. I was crossing my boundaries with time. I was over delivering. And I hit that goal and I had a full blown panic attack. Full blown panic attack right at the moment that I realized I hit it because I realized I don't feel any different. Like I worked my butt off to get here. I don't feel any different. So that really set me off down this path of recognizing that, these attachment patterns that we have to money and to numbers and the significance of them and these milestones that we tie to our self-worth is really exhausting. And I had to go on this whole soul quest to find how to define my worthiness outside of that. But I never approached it from a place of fun. I approached it from a project. Like, I got to find where my self worth is. Where is it? And you're like, bitch, just have fun, And I just love it. Like, I wish I had that back then. That would have been so nourishing for me. Um,
Mm.
yeah, and it's hard to see a lot of entrepreneurs on that path and just finding the shiny things aren't bringing the shiny joy that they thought they would. It's a hard thing to swallow and see for sure.
It is. And I think everyone kind of has that moment, that breakthrough at a different time, right? There is a classic story that lives in so many movie plot lines of the the white man who climbs the corporate ladder for 40 years and then wakes up and realizes he missed all of his kids' practices and recitals, right? So it's like that, but it comes in different shapes and sizes, different times for
For
everybody.
everyone, yeah.
Yeah.
So when you started reclaiming your fun, what are some of the things you tried to do where you're like, I'll try this. I'll see if this is fun. I'll see if this is fun. Did you make a fun list and just give all these weird things a chance?
Kind of, yeah. I
Yeah.
remember I had a very fleeting Play-Doh era where I was like, let me just sit down and play with Play-Doh. That was funny.
No way. Play-Doh.
Yeah, right? I got into roller skating, which I still love. That one's seasonal. I tried rock climbing. I hula hooping, still into that. I got a hand pan a couple months ago. Loving that's a more recent one. Wardrobe has been the ride or die for me.
Yeah.
Like making my closet the project and my makeup and my hair and just seeing just how fun we can go. Like I almost wore this and then I decided to wear my headphones instead. But I almost wore this on here today
I love it.
because we had these at one of our recent events for everybody who was there. And one of the girls wore them on like a coaching session. And I was like, yes, yes, we can talk about like
They're
very
so cute.
sincere things and wear things like this at the
They're
same
very
time.
like Dr. Seuss. Like, okay, so everybody who's listening, she's wearing like a headband with little foo-foo Dr. Seuss pink hair. Like it's adorable.
Very
You
Whoville.
so wait, you do events in person? Is that what you're really?
That's my main dish right now. Yeah, I started what's called the Fun Side Club here in Charlotte, North Carolina, almost exactly a year ago. And it's a mastermind for female entrepreneurs in person. But every month we have both like a masterminding business talk session and a play date where we do something crazy.
That's so fun. So what are some of
It's a
the things that
blast.
you've been adding on the list? This is awesome.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, it's my heart and soul and we want to expand and like do the most with it. So I'm very excited about it. Some of our favorite events over the past year, Adult Field Day. That's a good one. So
Oh
tug of
my
war,
God.
sack races, crazy shit. Slip and slide kickball. The active ones get wild, where it's literally kickball, but instead of running, you're slip and sliding to base.
I
So that was a blast. We've done some weird relay races where we put on those big bubble suits. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but you just get on the inside and then you're surrounded by a big
yes.
bubble and then like joust kind of with each other and then do bobbing for apples with wigs on and like smash pumpkins and stuff. So that was a fall fest thing. We recently did a private shopping and styling like runway experience with a local boutique that's super fun side coated, berry
That's
texture,
really
color.
fun.
Yeah. And then we we had our first birthday party. That was what the headbands were for. And we did splatter painting, which is one of our favorite activities. But me and my business partner, because our whole thing is being like anti-blue polo events,
Mm.
like networking events that are full of
Yep.
men in blue polos talking about
Yes.
finance. We dressed up as Kevin and Jason, men in blue polos, like head to toe, and had them splatter paint us.
No.
Yeah.
Girl. I mean, this is super cool. Like to see that you've created this and came up with this idea of bringing more community centric events. Like that's so important in the entrepreneurial space. Everything's online. I love that concept of being able to network and connect in person. It's really
Thank
amazing.
you. Yeah, it's powerful. It's different.
Yeah, North Carolina, you said?
Hmm.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, so I guess in closing, like, tell me what you want every entrepreneur out there to know about the medicine of fun. Any final last words, requests, thoughts, and feelings you want to share?
Not only is your joy and your well-being reason enough to have fun, but having fun is a very powerful tool for growth and success, personally and professionally. It is both. It is the biggest win-win of all time, and bringing it into your life with intention will change everything in the most beautiful, profound ways.
Okay, well, we're on the other side of the episode, and I hope you really enjoyed this conversation. I'd like to give you a little bit of an assignment because we're all here to embody the medicine of what we're learning. And I really want to avoid this concept of shelf improvement. When we listen to the show, I really invite listeners to just take away like one thing. Like, what's the one thing that you're going to apply or do differently or try to actually anchor in some of the medicine that you took in today's conversation? So that's my first ask for you guys. Think about what you heard in today's conversation and really reflect on finding maybe that one thing that you can say, yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to take that with me. I'm going to give that a shot. Now, for more information on Kari, you can go to the show notes of today's episode. We've linked her Instagram, her beautiful book, and her website, so you can explore all of that in the show notes of today's conversation. Please go check her out, give her a follow, send her some love. And then my final ask for all of you guys, if you liked today's conversation, please leave a review. I say it on every episode, and I think it's just so important. We want to share and celebrate all of the guests here on the World Needs Your Medicine podcast. And when we hear that certain episodes and conversations really land with you, it allows us to bring on more of those types of guests and also gives us direction on some of the solo episodes we need to bring into the show. So if you're listening on Spotify, just leave a little 5-star thought and reflect on today's particular episode. And if you're on iTunes, you can leave a 5-star review and share which episode you just listened to and how it moved you and how you felt about it. So helpful for all of us. If you're on YouTube, please come and subscribe. And thank you for being here, guys. The world really does need your medicine, and I'm so happy to have you on the show. Thank you for being here. I'll see you soon.